Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel, Brains and Beauty. I'm a PhD student studying brains and also a beauty lover, and on my channel I focus on creative, conscious consumerism. And when a new palette launches, like the Huda Beauty Color Block palettes that I'm interested in, as a conscious consumer, there's a couple of things you can do. So one thing is you can dupe the vibe. So this is something that Hannah Louise Poston on YouTube has coined, and she practices this in her videos. In her videos, even if you don't have the exact same shades in your collection, you kind of get shades that are similar enough that allow you to get a similar vibe. And so you're still using the eyeshadows in your collection, but you're just inspired by the vibe of the new launch. Or you can do something like Lauren May Beauty does, where she has a very large single eyeshadow collection, and so she actually tries to get as close as possible and dupe the colors using her single eyeshadows. Or the third thing that you can do is actually make the eyeshadows by mixing eyeshadows in your collection using color theory. So that is what I'm going to do today as part of my Make It or Buy It series. I like to do this because I don't have a huge single shadow collection, but I still want those exact colors that are in the new launches because that's what inspires me. Like, yes, I know that like most greens or blues, when they're on the eyes, will look pretty similar, but for me, what inspires me to actually put those colors on my eyes is the nuances. I could have like 100 different greens and still really enjoy each one if like one's just slightly more yellow and the other one's slightly more blue. So rather than purchasing all of that product and having it expire, I just basically reuse the eyeshadows that I already own by mixing a little bit from them and creating a new shade and putting it into these tiny sample pans. So I did this before with the Cinderella Sigma palette, and I'll leave the whole playlist in case you want to watch it. So I did that one, and it allowed me to play with the colors, and I really loved playing with that palette. Like, I played with it for months, and I love those colors, but I really didn't need any more than just a sample to play with those tones. And on the other hand, I actually made the Myrte palette last summer, and I went through the like really dark shades, the dark red, the dark green, the dark blue, because I always would reach for those on the outer corner of my eye looks. And after having that experience and realizing that those would be good shades for my collection, I ended up purchasing a small magnetic palette that did have those dark shades that was released later in the winter. So in a way, these kinds of videos really allow me to sample the colors, understand if I actually would like to have them in larger quantities, and perhaps maybe I want to actually buy the palette that I'm making in the future, or buy just like a single of a specific shade in that color story that I end up using a lot, or maybe I don't need to buy it at all because I'm just thoroughly enjoying the colors I have in these tiny sample pans, and that's enough for me. But I still do call it a make it or buy it because if at the end of the video, like I can't make a specific shade, I think that's a really good indicator that I'm missing that in my collection and it would be a good purchase. Now, with that being said, today's palette that I'm going to be making is the Huda Beauty Color Block Obsessions, and specifically the one in the blue-green color story. I know you guys love these videos, and I am so excited to film another one of these. Like, these are my colors. I love yellows, blues, greens, purples. My video for the mermaid theme is going to go up midway through this month, so I think it might be the video after this. But yeah, just like, spoiler alert, it was so much fun because those are my colors. So yeah, I'm excited to make even more of those colors today. And so I've sanitized everything as usual. I have my pans, I have this little magnetic palette so it can hold the pans while I press them. And one thing that's also going to be super fun about this Make It or Buy It is I do now have the Huda Beauty Primaries Cake Liner palette, and so that means I can actually make the top left corner of this palette that's supposed to be like a periwinkle purple type of cake liner. I can actually mix that as well. I won't be mixing it in these tin pans because otherwise, if you add water, cake liners are water activated, so if you add water to tin, it can rust. So instead, I'm going to be putting it in the aluminum pan, similarly to what I did in the last video. In the last video, I went ahead and I mixed a bunch of colorful eyeliners using this into pans so that I can include them in my custom palettes. So if you really want to watch like a very relaxing, like 30 minutes of mixing, definitely go check out that video. I will leave it linked above. But yeah, I'm excited that today we'll also be able to mix for the cake liner. I feel like it's becoming kind of trendy. Like this is the first Huda Beauty palette that has a cake liner in it. But I feel like I'm starting to see that kind of appear in a lot of formulas. So this is like the perfect time that I bought this, because now I can also do make it or buy it on the not just the eyeshadow formulas in the palette, but also the cake liners. Now, one last thing that I want to say is that I have watched reviews of this palette, and I noticed that, for example, in Millie's review video, so she's Bad to the Brow on YouTube. I will link her channel and her video down below. And she's not only like the multi-chrome queen, but she's also just really good at just doing eyeshadow, like doing eye looks and everything. So I really trust, her opinion. If she can't make something work, I don't feel like I can make it work. She's just really talented. And she wasn't very impressed with this formula from Huda Beauty. And I watched a couple other review videos, and I feel like that's a sentiment, across many different videos. That it's not the worst, but it's not the best. So it's just kind of like in between. Now, I know some people were saying like Huda only does neutral palettes, and so, maybe that's why her colorful formula is not so good. But I just want to say that, like, she's the one who started the monochromatic 9-pan palette, like, boom that happened, like that whole trend. She was first when she started the Obsession series. I have the Emerald one, and this formula is beautiful. These greens are so nice. This is a beautiful pastel green. It's not chalky. It's really nice. All these tones, even like this brown, has like an olive tone to it. This whole palette is gorgeous. I used it for an entire month for my mermaid month. And yeah, so she can do colorful formulas. I think it's just that she didn't do the neon palettes really well, and so that's what kind of probably what people are remembering. But yeah, I wasn't expecting this palette to be a bad formula, because she has done good colorful palettes before, but I guess it's just this one just isn't one of them. And that's another thing that is nice about this Make It or Buy It series. I'm going to be mixing eyeshadow formulas that I already know how to use and I enjoy using, and so I don't have to worry about like getting a new palette and then being disappointed by the formula or having to learn how to make it work. First, what I do in my Make It or Buy It is I see if there's anything that I do like exactly have that color. And I thought this purple really matched the purple, like the dark purple in the palette, but it's pretty much like more grapey, like it's more warm toned. So I will need to add some blue to this one. But when I was opening this and looking at it, like just a couple minutes ago, I realized that I have the like top right corner shade. And this is an absolutely beautiful, like sea green kind of shade. It's gorgeous. So I always forget about this one in this palette, but this was like one of the colors that I was excited to make today. And then I opened this and I was like, wait a minute, you have it. So I have this. And then the other shade that I think I have is this pastel. So this is like one of the best pastel yellows, and it's from Terra Moons. So I'm just going to go ahead and swap out these two, because I already have samples of every shadow in my eyeshadow palette so that I can use them in these kind of custom palettes. So this is that shade, and then the yellow. Okay, so now we're gonna get started with making the rest of them, because I don't think I have those exact tones. Now I think when it comes to the purple, I'll just need to add a little bit of this blue. I feel like I'm going to be playing around with the amount of the blue and the purple. For one of the shades, I'm going to lean more into the blue, and then for the purple shade, I'm going to lean more into the purple. So that is likely what I'm going to do there. And then for the bottom left green shade, I feel like it is a true green like this, but it has a bit of yellow to it. So it's not like this. It's not to the point where you add that much yellow, but it's just a touch of like a cool tone yellow. So I'm going to see if taking a little bit of that Twilight shade Yeah, there we go. That's really making it look like that shade. So that's probably what I'll mix for that one. And then for the last matte eyeshadow, the bottom right, this one's tricky. Like in some pictures, it kind of looks like it's more baby blue, and in some pictures it looks more like a cactus blue. I'm gonna go with cactus blue because that tone is what just makes my brain fuzzy and happy. Like that is the color that I would hope it would be when I get in, not just like a kind of baby blue, but like a cactus blue. So I will try making that, but that's gonna require a bit more mixing between the blues and greens. So let's just get started. I'm going to put some nice lo-fi music on while I mix, and then I might stop here and there to give some commentary, but I think we've gotten the gist of the first couple shades, what I plan to do, and then we'll do the shimmers, and then lastly the cake liner. So let's just get started. Okay, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, like the difference between these two blues. It's so slight, but I really feel like this is the blue and that's not yet, like that wasn't the blue, that was more cobalt. This has like just that hint of purple that's made it, it's not a blurple like yet, like it's not midway between blue and purple, but it's a blue with a purple tint. Like, maybe I'll add just a slight amount more of the purple. I don't mind it becoming a blurple, but it's just like, I feel like this is literally exactly what I see in swatches and in the palette. But I'll add a tiny bit more just so we're sure the color is showing. Yeah, okay, I think you can see it for sure. Like, this is becoming like, this is as purple as I would go with this shade. And even you can see, because sometimes the color can change when it's pressed, I just press it against the wall here, and it does look like the pan does in the palette. So let me see if I've made enough. Okay, the pan isn't completely full, so I am going to make a little bit more, but same thing. I don't always feel like I need to use the pestle, but I think I'll just give them one quick press with the pestle and then scoop it back out. the bluey purple shade. As you can see here, it is much more purpley than the cobalt blue that originally was in the palette. So there we go. Next I'm going to do the purple, and I think I'm just going to do it by adding purple into here and just see if like the remainder of what's just like is on the edges and stuff can just make that purple a little more cool toned. Okay, yeah, I did. I'm a little surprised because when I was looking at this in here, I was like, it didn't do it, but when you swatch it, you can see that the purple is just now more cool toned, and this is what matches what's in the palette and what goes with Millie's swatches. So that's what I'm referencing. I'm going between like the actual palettes itself and Millie's swatches. I think I'm gonna have to make a little bit more, so. Because I'm adding so much more, I'm just gonna add a touch of the blue. I think I need more of the blue still. Okay, so I'm just picky like this. So I went ahead, this is what I just made, and I was comparing it to the sample I took of that purple, and they look so similar in the pan, which is kind of frustrating because I wanted this one to look more blue, and I mean, if you look really closely, it does look more blue. Maybe you can see it there too, like this looks more cool tone than that. But it's like I want it to be a slightly bigger difference. Now again, in swatches you can see it as well, like here. These tiny swatches, and then this one, this is what I made, and it's more of a cool tone purple, and this is the original swatch from the palette. So this is the correct shade, and I kept going back and forth. Do I want to add a bit more blue just to emphasize the blue? But I have like a picture of the palette, and I put this pan right next to it, and this is the blue that's in the palette. Like, this is the exact color. So it doesn't make sense for me to add any more blue to it, but at some point in the future, I might just make my own blurple. I think that's what my heart wants right now, and that's why it's trying to make me go more blue, but this is the color that's in the Huda Beauty palette, so we're just gonna stick with this, and I'm really happy that I do have this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in our palette. And I'm gonna go and wash these things off so we can make the last two matte shades. Alright, I'm back. Let's make the green shade. So like I said, I'm just going to mainly have this green and then put in a touch of the pastel yellow. Okay, we're definitely getting closer. Like, this is really, really close. I think I'm going to add a smidgen of, like, the warm toned yellow. I still think that the cool toned yellow is mainly what's in there, but just a touch. Like, I don't want it to become like this kind of green, but just a touch. I do feel like I have the right tone, but maybe it's still a bit too, like, vibrant of a green. I'm going to, let's put in a little bit of white. I was hoping that because the pastel has some white to it, that it would also help making it more muted, but let's see if adding some actual white eyeshadow helps. There we go. That's the way it looks when it's pressed in the palette, so let me give it a swatch. It's a really beautiful pastel shade, but I think I'm going to add just a touch of black just so that I can get like a more grayed version of this shade. Like literally just that much. Here's a little bit. I have a very like surprised Pikachu look on my face right now. Like, how did it get lighter? I think, okay, but it did get more muted, so that worked. But yeah, I think this might be too light now. Okay, I'm gonna do something I wasn't expecting to do, but at this point, I may as well try. I'm going to add some of this. My thought process is that it'll deepen it a little bit. I'm not really sure. I just feel like this is close, but there's something off. I don't know. I'm gonna try this. I love how like this. I was like, this is gonna be the easiest shade. It's just 2 eyeshadows. No. Wait, I think I actually got it. This isn't as pastel as this. It has some color to it. It's not like this kind of green. I feel like this is the closest. Like, look at Millie's swatch and then I'll put it on the screen and then look at mine. I feel like this is really, really, really close. Like, these were still leaning a little blue. I'm gonna press it again just to make sure that when it's pressed, I could add a touch of yellow. I think I'm gonna add a touch more yellow. Okay, I think I did it. Okay. Wow, okay, I'm excited. So I did need more yellow than I expected because in the pan, when it's pressed, it's not supposed to look too blue toned. It doesn't look that blue toned. So here, as you can see, it doesn't look too blue toned, but in swatches, it's supposed to look like this, and this is what it looks like. So I'm looking at Millie's swatches, and it is this type of green. Also, I'm looking at Makeup Just for Fun, her video, and it is this kind of bright, greeny, yellowy blue. It's just this really interesting tone because it's not too yellow and it's not too blue. It's right in the middle. But yeah, I think I got really, really close, and it's a beautiful shade. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop this out. This shade was so much more work than I expected, but I love it so much. So I'm gonna put this in. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up so we can do the last shade. For the last shade, I feel like this one I'm not as sure about. Like, I don't have a game plan, but I think, like, just my intuition tells me these two mixed together might be able to make it. If not, then I'll resort to bringing more of this blue in and then perhaps some yellow, we'll see. But that's what I'll start off with when I come back and have everything cleaned off. Okay, I think I have the right tone, but it's really bright. This is so beautiful, but I think I'm gonna mute it by adding this, like a little bit of this. I'm like putting a little bit at a time so I can still adjust it if I don't like what the shade comes out as. Ooh, yes, that did it. That did it. It's so satisfying when you see it come together. So this pressed is exactly what I see on the Sephora like palette, the way it looks when it's pressed. And this is super, super close. So that shade really is more these two together than this one and this one. I'm gonna add a touch of white just because, again, I feel like it's a little more white based. Alright, there we go. That's perfect. That looks exactly like the swatches in Millie's photo. And so I'm just going to go ahead and make a larger quantity of this. Guys, look how beautiful this color is. My brain is just so happy just looking at this. I mean, I just want to put it all over my eyes. Oh my gosh, the tone is just amazing. I'm in love with this shade. It's like the perfect like cactus blue that I wanted. Like this, it's so perfect and looks exactly like how it looks in the picture of the palette. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so now we're done with the mattes. So for the two shimmers, we have one that is more marbled and then the other one is like a split pan. Now, I don't actually think I'm going to be making the colors for these because these kind of greeny blue shimmers are really common and I think I have like dupes for them in my collection. Like for the split pan, the side that's more of an iridescent green looks exactly like Mermaid from NYX. So I'll give it a swatch. So that's the shade there. And then for the other two shades, they look super similar in the palette, and in Millie's swatches, they also look really similar, like a silvery, bluey green. But when I look at Makeup Just for Fun's like swatches, I can see now a bit of the difference. So the one that's more marbled, that one is like leaning blue, and then the one that is in the split pan is more of like an aqua blue. So from my Urban Decay Heavy Metals palette, I feel like these two shades pretty much fill that role. Like if you look at this one compared to the swatch and then this one to the split pan swatch, yeah, this one's really accurate. This one is a little bit like more of a silvery blue in the swatch, and I think that's because it's marbled with something that is more of like a silvery green. So we're going to do that. I'm going to marble this blue with a silvery green, and I think I'll get the same effect. And then this one will be part of the split pan with the Mermaid shade from NYX. And by the way, if you've noticed the video quality has gone up, that's the new phone that I got. The cameras are wild on this one, so I hope you're enjoying the quality. Okay, I'm going to do it again on this side just so that I have everything here. So we have Mermaid from NYX, and that is literally the split pan. You can see it looks exactly like how she swatched it. And then this is more blue, but if we top it with a bit of Glass Slipper, which is this like silvery green, that looks really, really similar to her swatches as well. So this is going to be the marbled shade. It's going to be the blue with Glass Slipper, and then the split pan is going to be Mermaid with Amp from the Urban Decay palette. Now I've never made like a marbled shade before, so this is going to be an interesting experience. I have pressed a marbled shade before when I was sampling all the eyeshadows in my collection. I have a marbled shade in the Huda New Nude palette, and when I sampled from the top layer, it easily pressed here as a marbled shade. But I've never actually made a marbled shade. But you know what? That's part of these videos, is me experimenting and learning for the first time. So let's try it out. I kind of just want to scoop directly into the pan chunks from here and from the other shadow, and then just hope it works. Okay, I just made a bunch of holes in the pan, and now we're just going to try to fill it in. Maybe this is not the smartest way to do it, but if it works. Alright, so that's what we're working with. It actually looks really similar to her pan, but these are just a little chunkier, so I'm just going to stab it a couple times. Oh my god, it's working. Okay. Yeah, stabbing it works. It's not mixing it, but it's making this stuff smaller. Wait, you guys, we did it. Okay, well, there you go. That's how you make a marbled shadow. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm just gonna press it now. Let's hopefully this part goes smoothly. There you go, you guys. We have a marbled eyeshadow. I'm gonna put it in. Right, I also haven't done a split pan before, but I think it's like the same concept. I'm just gonna fill half of the pan with the mermaid shade and then half of the pan with the other shade. Okay, I was trying to fill it halfway, but it's hard to do that. I think you can just spread it out a little bit. I didn't have to fill it all the way. I could just push it back before I put the other half in. I just want to make these a little smaller because the chunks are a little big. Okay, now I'm going to sweep it over. And now let's put the other side. I'm just going to try to make it a little more fine diced here, just because if I put large chunks in, like long term, it likely won't press as well. So just going to finely get some pieces from here. And I mean, of course, you could finely dice it in the pestle. I guess I just didn't put it in there because I wasn't mixing anything. Oh no, I almost ruined it. Okay, there you go. That's a split pan. It's not perfect. I'm not a perfectionist. I just do my best. So, um, so I think that is pretty great. So I'm just going to go ahead and press it. All right, that wasn't as perfect. I think I'm going to hide the fact that this got here. I think I'll just put a little bit more here to cover that, but yeah, you have to be careful with this one. It's a little bit harder to do. And I'm going to use a different tissue because I don't want to accidentally stamp it wrong. Alright, that's as good as it's gonna get, y'all. So, it'll be our little secret that I have a bit of speckles in the other pan, okay? I mean, when I use this, I'm gonna be mixing both sides together anyways, but you know, it's for the aesthetic. How perfect is this? Oh my gosh, I love when everything comes together at the end. So let's do the last step. We're gonna make the cake liner. We're making a periwinkle purple. I love this color. I'm so excited to make this. So I've cleaned this off and I'm gonna go ahead and add in some water. Alright, I learned from that mixing video that we want the smallest amount of the red possible. So I'm literally just gonna take what's been melted in the water and maybe just stop there because that's already risky. I don't know how that red got in there, but I have to take it out or else it's gonna turn the whole pan pink, so. Can I see if I can get a chunk at least? Yeah, okay. Because it's a pastel, we want it to be mostly the white. I'm gonna add a touch, again, more of the red. Alright, I've made like a periwinkle blue. It's super close, but I think I need to add just a little bit more red and then we'll get it to the periwinkle purple. Okay, that's the color. I don't think I need to add any more red to it. We're good, I just need to mix it. Okay, there we go, you guys. We made it. So this is the Huda Beauty Color Block Obsessions in the green and blue colorway. And I am so happy with these colors. I mean, they're so beautiful. Like that cactus blue, the green, that's like just this interesting green. It's not yellow, it's not blue. It's just really, really fun. And then I have a bit of a blurple now, like a bluey touch of purple kind of shade. And then this purple that has like a blue undertone to it is also really nice. And I learned how to do marble shades and split pans, and I love this type of periwinkle pastel purple. Like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So these are definitely my colors. I'm so excited to use these both like as this palette, but also as part of like other custom palettes that I can build, because these are single shadows, so I can always take some of these colors and add them to future color stories. But yeah, this was so much fun. Did this palette pique your interest, or was there a different new release that has piqued your interest? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you want me to make the other Melt palette, the Gemini Sister palette, because I still kind of want to make that one. And I'm going to keep my eye out. I feel like around this time, a bunch of new palette releases usually catch my eye, so stay tuned. There likely will be more of this make it or buy it type of videos coming up on my channel. So if you like that kind of content, please do subscribe, and I will leave a playlist of all of the videos that are like this so you can see the other ones as well. And if you like this video, if you enjoyed the relaxing mixing, or just this concept in general, please do give the video a like. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!